All right. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Dorsey's Resource. The title of this video is going to be Redemption Education, Where to Begin, and Disinfo Agents. But first, as you guys know I normally do, I like to give a disclaimer. This video is for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. Please understand everyone's individual circumstance or situation may be different. It's up to every individual competent person to please do his or her homework and research regarding the matter being discussed. This information is not to be construed as legal advice. In the event you feel you need to seek a competent professional, it is encouraged that you do so at one's own leisure. Dorsey's Resource channel is not liable or responsible for any misuse of this information. Keep in mind, everyone is responsible for their own actions. With that being said, these are simply my opinions. All rights are reserved. Now, let's get into the topic. I want to thank you guys who continue to follow me, who share my videos. I appreciate you. I'm back once again. I wanted to talk about in this video, I was asked from a couple videos ago, someone asked me with this redemption education, where do I begin? I want to say, first of all, that I don't claim to be any particular guru. I'm not anyone's leader, but I will try to help answer questions. This is what my channel is about. Try to help people. I cover a wide array of various different topics. This is one thing I studied years ago. I'm not just one-dimensional. I read, study multiple different topics. And I want to talk about not only this redemption education, but I may get into disinfo agents. I wanted to clarify and give you all some key resources to look up that will validate and help you further advance your journey. Like I say, I do give a disclaimer. Everyone is responsible. So first off, I want to go over key definitions. Camilla Barnes says, good morning. Greetings to you, Camilla Barnes. Greetings. Thank you for joining. Good to see you again. I want to go over key definitions to research and investigate in depth. Now, there's a whole lot of information to go over, but some critical definitions I think is very important that will debunk a lot of the misinformation and disinfo agents that are out there that try to lead you astray, because they don't want you to wake up. They want to keep you programmed. They want to keep you at a lower frequency, a lower level. They don't want your spirituality to be raised up, So in one in particular, I'm going to address and maybe even do a video, a screen capture video down the line. I've been documenting her channel, and she fired some shots at me in one particular video in relation to Harvey Dent. And I'm going to, but first, without further ado, some critical definitions to go into. Key definitions to research. Please look up the word person. And you're going to need a Black's Law Dictionary. This information is not for the weak. It never has been. When I got in this information years ago, nobody held my hand. Nobody forced me to. I read a lot of information. Yes, I really did read. Back then, I was a lot younger. I was curious. I wanted to get to the bottom of this and know if this information is accurate. And I want to say you do have out there different con artists and scammers. I had to deal with that years ago, but that's like anything in life. Anybody can make anything out of a scam. So that's why I tell everyone to use their own judgment, make their own critical assessment. And one of the reasons I give a disclaimer, but I want to go over information that you can look up that will validate and previous things I've talked about in previous videos. But first, look up the word person in the Black's Law Dictionary. And you can also look these definitions up online on Yahoo or Google search engine as well. They do have online encyclopedias that have valid information, but I would cross-reference so you would see that I'm not making this up. You're not just getting information from one particular source, especially when this particular gatekeeper that I might go into later is constantly saying they have factual information, but she never shows a real face. She's been hiding behind a pseudonym name for quite a while. I don't even think it's not even based if there's an actual name. Venus Trinity, I'll just say for the time being. But also look up this law is called Title 28 of the United States Code, Section 3002. And in this state that I'm in, the state of Michigan, I had an elder a while ago gave me a law that you don't have to have a license to use the law. Now, in terms of representing someone, that's a whole nother story. I heard about the My Brother's Keep rack, but I looked it up. I couldn't find any information on it, and I'm not gonna, share something that I don't have information on myself. But I do actually have a law that says you yourself, you can actually use the code. You don't have to be a lawyer to enforce the laws, but you do have to know what you're doing. And a lot of people are misinformed and have not taken a basic legal class. But I'm going to go over, look up Title 28, Section 3002, subsection 15A. It's Title 28 of the United States Code, Section 3002, subsection 15A. It states unequivocally, and you can look this up online, the United States is a federal corporation. Because I was looking at a video recently by this particular gatekeeper. She's a habitual liar. She constantly makes up stuff to lie. I myself have never referred to myself ever as a sovereign citizen. That is a derogatory term. That is also an umbrella term that's used to discredit people and steer them away from looking into this type of information. I want you all to be clearly aware. I'm factual. I'm showing my face. This person never shows their face. They also are not, it appears to be hiding behind a fake account. They're not even showing their real name. So if you're credible, I'm showing who I really am. So my question to that gatekeeper, what do you have to hide if you're so factual, if you're really so credible? I'm going to go over concrete, bulletproof information that you all can grab a hold of. And I do have some notes with me out of my own handwriting, that things that I read, I researched years ago, but this will validate this law, Title 28, Section 3002, subsection 15A. It states unequivocally, and it states this online, the United States is a federal corporation. And also look up in previous Black's Law dictionaries. I will recommend get the Black's Law Dictionary 4th edition, 6th edition. It's a good edition to have. That, in case you're unfamiliar with the Black's Law Dictionary, that is a dictionary that people who are training to study for the bar exam, who are trying to become lawyers to practice the law, they get their license through the county. They're required, or they need those dictionaries to learn this legal terminology, because within the court system, they speak an entirely different language. And one of the things we learned in the English language, which is important when we went through grade school, elementary school, they didn't teach us, unless you've taken a civics class, that certain words, like the word understand, has a different meaning within the court system. It has one meaning where it means to comprehend, we've been taught, but it has an entirely different meaning within the judicial system. That's just one example. This is multiple words. This is why it's important to read these dictionaries. So just be clear on that. I'm going over credible information you can look up. So they lied in a previous video. Virgo Triad, for example, that's the name of her channel. She's a liar, constantly lies habitually, but I'm giving you concrete, bulletproof information you can look up. I went over, look up the definition of the word person. Also, please look up individual. I'm going to get to the chat section too. I'm going to try to acknowledge you guys when I get a chance, just to let you all know. Please look up the term individual. So I went over person, look up individual in the Black's Law Dictionary. Also look up natural person. Please look up natural person. There's a difference, and it's going to be hard. I would recommend you look up natural person on Yahoo search engine, Google, and also everything I'm going over. If I do go over any webinars, videos you can watch for free on YouTube, make sure you document this information. Especially, I was going to mention later on, but I'll mention it ahead of time. Now, look up Pastor Lindsey Williams. Look up, study all of his work as much as you can. You can't be a weekend warrior to really comprehend and understand this information. This is not for the weak, the feeble-minded. This information goes very in depth. It's very complex. You have to have a high IQ to be able to understand. That's why some people are not successful in this information, and many people have not taken a legal class to understand at least how the court system works. You don't have to be a lawyer, just like you don't have to have a securities license to do certain types of transactions. Let's be clear on that. And I do have the law someone gave me in the state of Michigan. You have to look up the laws because they're different versus your state, whether or not, meaning if you exert the laws or you put laws on certain documents, it's important to put it inside brackets and put in reference to. This is why lawyers and people will say pursuant to, because the laws, the codes they call them, which are statutory, are copywritten. You see, they're copywritten, so they have different loopholes and tricks to trap you up. See, I'm going over critical things that this gatekeeper and other people, they don't go in depth. They're not going into. Also look up the word term corporation. So I went over person, individual, natural person. You want to look up corporation. You also want to look up the term color of law. Look up color of law. You want to look up the terminology de facto. Look up de facto. You want to look up plausible deniability. Look up plausible deniability. You also want to look up de jure. It's like DEJURE. Look up de jure, what that means, the original meaning, going back to Commonwealth, common law. Look up de jure. That's an important term. Look up, this is also another term. These are two words, separate definitions for it. Look up juristic person. Please look up juristic person. See, I'm touching on some things because some people who have a legal background will know where I'm kind of going. Look up juristic person once again. You also want to look up the definition of a state. Look up the definition of a state. Also in the Black's Law Dictionary, look up enlegis. It's spelled ENSLEGIS. Look up enlegis. Some people pronounce it differently. What's the Latin terminology? See, they speak an entirely different language. Like, they don't want regular citizens to know this stuff. This is why it's compartmentalized, why people have to go through all of these things, this information should have been taught in elementary and middle school and even high school. And it's a reason why this information is kept secretive. You want to look up res. And some of these definitions, like I said, you may need a Black's Law Dictionary, but you can also look up online. There are also online encyclopedias. You have Investopedia to go more in depth and use multiple search engines and document this information too. Because this particular gatekeeper, they lie continuously and they want to keep you brainwashed and dumbed down. But I'm giving you factual information that some stuff they haven't even gone over, because I go tune in and see what lies she's talking about. I go every now and then to see what BS she's making up. And I noticed that lately she's been triggered to some previous videos. You know, guys know I don't really use profanity in my videos, but I noticed she was using some curse words, by the way. And I said, that's not really becoming if she's so credible and factual and never shows a real face, never shows a real name. And that's supposed to be credibility, huh? Think about that. I'm more credible because you guys can see who I am. You know, I've mentioned my real name, the name of my channel is part of my last name, my surname. So just saying, look up res once again. Res is like the ship. I won't spoil it for you guys, but look up Title 9 of the United States Codes that deals with vessel of the United States. Title 9 of the United States Codes, and I'm gonna give you a hint. It's related to res. See, a lot of this information is encrypted, by the way. And once again, you're gonna need a Black's Law Dictionary. Now, one of the Black's Law previous definitions, don't quote me on it, look up United States. I heard they removed it from some of the later editions, but in one of the older Black's Law dictionaries, United States means District of Columbia, like your franchise. And I won't go into that. I won't spoil it for you guys, but do research on the definition of United States in one of the older Black's Law dictionaries. That means District of Columbia, which, you know, that's Washington, D.C., which is a separate political body, which doesn't deal with the physical land, by the way. Hold on. I'll be back. Okay. I want to thank you guys. I'm back real quick. Thank you guys for being patient. I'm at what I call the slavery plantation. I'm still not completely free because according to this individual's logic, if I was a sovereign citizen, sovereign means immunity, but you can't use the two terms together. The State Department in Washington, D.C. does not officially recognize a title in that form of citizenship. It's an umbrella term that's used in a derogatory way to try to make people that study this type of information seem like they're conspiracy theorists or crazy, stuff like that, because they don't want other people to research or look into this type of information. There is a real side. I'm not talking about the con side. You have like I said, to reiterate, you have con artists and scammers and anything. But this individual that I was referring to, they like to generalize and try to put everyone in one particular category. And that's a form of defamation of character, just without no evidence whatsoever. There's some of these people they named in one particular video about Harvey Dent. I have never formally met him before, as well as some other people where like she said that we're working together. That's not true. That's inaccurate. And some other people she named, and people have different belief systems. So I want to say she's lying. Don't believe her. You also want to go over there, make sure you flag a lot of her videos. It's a bunch of BS. She doesn't even give you the opportunity to debate. She just dismisses everything as lies. And she's trolling me. They call that trolling. She's following my channel. And she first came out in around October of 2017 when the TDA movement broke out. She was lying big time back then, but she would take content information that I would mention in my videos. And even though we don't have her real name yet, we're working on that. I know some individuals were, but there were some people I was invited to a private Discord app, and I mentioned to some people that there was one particular gatekeeper, and there's some people that are associated with her. There was someone by the name of Tammy Bowers. It's believed to be, since I don't even have a GoFundMe account because she accused me of being in this category with the rest of these people. I've never sold TDA accounts. I don't take on clients. I've never had any clients as of yet. Just so you guys know, to show that she's straight up lying. And this is my words. If I had to swear under penalty of perjury, you know, to show you she's full of a lot, you know, basically where I'm kind of going with that. But this individual was stealing information and twisting it around, trying to use my information to benefit her narrative that she's trying to push because she has a hidden agenda. You know, she's out for whatever reason, XYZ. So guys, just be aware of that. If you're studying this type of information, you're new to this, like some people ask me, where do I start from, Dorsey? And because of this reason, you have gatekeepers and people out here who are wicked, people who are trying to destroy this. They want to keep you brainwashed like a Manchurian candidate. They don't want you knowing this information. It goes high up to the ruling class elite. I'll just leave it at that. Some of you all that do follow my channel, who are subscribed to me, know that I attended a private event some years ago. Of course, I'm out of respect, I'm not going to say the name in this particular video, but I have documentation to support that, to validate that. I also work in a form of security, which is a lower level form of law enforcement. So I've worked with EMS, firefighters, private investigators, detectives. So I know how to conduct an investigation. And I've also had discussions. Some of these people are aware there's a real side, just as well as you do have a fake side. And that person covers just one side of the story. They don't cover the full spectrum. So let's be clear on that. I'm not saying everything that she says is inaccurate, but a lot of the stuff she puts out is a lot of BS that's just made up in the way she's attacked myself and other people within the movement that study this type of information and accuse us of working together. I just want you guys to be clear that a lot of most of the people she named, I've never even met before. I don't even know. So that's, like I said, is just made up. Some other important information you want to look up to debunk what some of the stuff she said. Look up the Erie Railroad versus Tompkins case. It's the Erie Railroad versus Tompkins case. I don't know if you guys can see my writing here, but I have some notes. The Erie Railroad versus Tompkins case of 1938. I'm going to show you guys right here for my notes. She put out a video not too long ago about Edward G. Griffin, the creature from Jekyll Island. That did actually happen. That is accurate. That's confirmed. She's trying to steer you away. She's got to be, you know, if she's not an actual government agent, sometimes people can be an agent of disinformation. She's very misleading. They don't tell the whole side of the story. So I want you to know, with my channel, I'm going to go in depth, and you guys are welcome to leave feedback. If you like my content, don't hesitate to thumb up. Let me know. That's how I get, you know, a confirmation from you guys. And down the road, I can do a screen capture too, which I've done in some previous videos. And if you do go over some of the videos that I've done that are on my channel that I've done screen captures on, I've already covered some of this information and other things that she's habitually lying about, constantly making up disinfo to prove you can actually see it online. But I'm telling you guys, document it, because you have these gatekeepers who are coming, who, you know, this is tied in with some really deep stuff. Aubrey G says, Kim Gorgon. I don't know. I can't say that for sure if that's her name, because like I said, Tank, some of you all might know who he is, some of you all may not. He's related to like the reset stuff. He has a channel now, and from what I understand, he said that was somebody that's over the Mana World Trust. So I don't know. There's high level stuff that's like another topic. So I saw information on that online, but Virgo Triad, aka Venus Trinity, is doing a real good job hiding who she is, not showing a real face, a real name. I did see Harvey did a video where she, temporarily for a time being, she had like a face up, I guess a picture up, but we still don't have a real like a government name on her. And I'm just saying, if you're going to come out publicly and claim that you're credible in the public like I'm doing, you know, you guys see my real name. I said previous videos that I've done, you know, when I close out, I mention my name, but she never mentions what her real government name is, if she's so credible, you know, with this information, with debunking. So I want to debunk the myths and go in depth and show you guys, you know, that's why I want to go over credible information. But this previous video she did about Edward, you want to look up Edward G. Griffin, the creature from Jekyll Island. Go online to back up what he talked about. Look up Bill Steele. He was from someone years ago, historian, researcher that uncovered information dealing with the banking system. Very credible information. Bill Steele. You can actually see who he is, and that's his name. Unlike this gatekeeper troll that's hiding behind a fake account. You know, a pseudonym name, by the way. Look up Money Masters, by the way. You also want to look up this movie documentary you can watch for free on YouTube called Monopoly Men. I've gone over these documentaries numerous times, but this will back up Edward G. Griffin's research that he did on the Creature from Jekyll Island book. There was also audio on this as well. You also want to look up William Shinoblin. Look up William Shinoblin. I can't remember offhand his last name. He has a large, kind of a long name, but you can find some of his videos online. He was connected to the Bible Prophecy Club years ago. So I researched information in different various topics throughout the years. So so far, see, we got a lot of comments in the chat. So I'm going to go to the chat real quick to acknowledge you guys, by the way. So let me scroll up. Someone says, Richie says, dumb down. Okay, starting from the top. Yeah. Cherokee Aulette says, Indigenous Aboriginals, do you believe in SPC? That stands for Secure Party Creditor. Yes, there are different processes, I want to say, that are involved with redemption education. And like this individual that I'm going over, they try to lump everybody in one particular category. And that's where you're inaccurate. When anybody does that, that's generalizing. That's like saying, for example, that all black people are criminals or steal. You know, it's very derogatory for her to, and even when she uses the term sovereign citizen, and she claims on her channel, by the way, that she's against bullying and stuff like this. But I look at a lot of the comments from a lot of her videos, and there's people on there that are making fun. She's making fun of other people herself. So she claims to be against bullying and this, that, and other, but she's a bully herself, by the way. So just keep that in mind. By the way, I'm going to go back to the chat. Once again, there's different processes to understand, to clarify your question, Cherokee. Rich E. Rich says, do you understand means do you stand under my authority? Yes, it means that too. Also, Jordan Maxwell has gone over that, but I was alluding to let my subscribers know, people who are researching this information for the first time, that have genuine questions, that want to know, is this valid? Now I'm just going over basic stuff. I've never done any consultations as of yet. This individual has accused me of selling packages. I've never sold packages, and she has a GoFundMe account. So I question, is she really in this for the money, for the material gain or whatnot? You have to question that, and, you know, hiding behind a fake account, but wants you to believe that she's so credible, by the way. Just saying, something to think about there. King OS says, peace, bro. Hotep, appreciate it. Big shout out to you. Terry McLaughlin says, how you been? Glad to see you again and get some education. Greetings to you. Thank you for joining, Terry. Elite 36 says hello. Greetings to you. Aubrey G says, Oh, that was retracted. I think I may have touched on that comment already. Elite 36 says, don't believe in Tank. By the way, I understand where everybody's coming from because there's different conflicting information. I said, if you're part of the reset, we'll find out once everything happens. But I do have sources, contacts that I can validate. There's also some institutions, banking institutions that I know of, one in particular, and what other people have told me personally, and I can confirm because one of them myself I used to bank with, and picked up a particular foreign currency there, by the way, and also some brick and mortar, which I mentioned in a previous video, foreign currency exchange locations as well. If this was a scam, because I told a certain individual, if they gave you a receipt, there would be now the types of scams out there is when people were like selling older currencies or whatnot that were not valid anymore, or actually counterfeiting. Now those types of things get into a scam, but it's important to distinguish the real versus the fake. Okay, let's be clear on that. A lot of people aren't touching on this gray area stuff. It's like a taboo subject or whatever, because they want to spook you because they keep this information very secretive. I'm just one of a few to go over this. But as far as the reset information, I understand where everybody's coming from. I listen to TNT. I've listened to Bruce's call. Some information is conflicted. I think some stuff is related, and the way people explain information, people interpret information differently. You know, there's a saying like years ago, if you spread something, tell one person, by the time it gets around the room back to you, the story has changed, if you guys get what I mean. So, I mean, to each his own, but thank you for the comment. Darren Jackson says, ready to exchange. Yup, same here. Cherokee says bankruptcy or bankrupt in 1933. Yes, because this individual tried to say that House Joint Resolution 192 is not real. This is another thing to show you all these things I'm going over in this video to debunk Virgo Triad. Probably should have changed the name, but I was thinking about doing a screen capture video. But I'm giving you guys the resources to actually look up for yourself, to do your own research and homework, so you're not taking my word, to show you how confident I am in what I'm presenting to you. And I'm not charging, I'm not asking any donation, because she lumped me in the category with these other people. She has a GoFundMe account, so she's more of a con artist than I am. I question, is she really in this genuinely, or is she in this for another reason? You know, it appears she has an ulterior motive too, by the way. So just be clear. But as far as the bankruptcy, she tried to say House Joint Resolution 192 was not real, 73rd Congress 10th session. What a lot of people don't know is that law is actually codified in the United States Code. I'm trying to think offhand to reference to, it's maybe title, USC title, you want to look up, is it 1212? I don't have it offhand, but just to let you guys know, I do have it documented. But HJR is also located at the Library of Congress, by the way. And then there's different sub-Library of Congress museums across the country where you can actually pick up a certified copy to show this is documented. Because on her channel, this will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this is actually in the court system. What I'm going over, I have genuine evidence as to material fact that Virgo Triad would be lying under penalty of perjury. She's a liar. Constantly lies, tells a lie. I'm not saying everything, but a lot of the stuff she spews over her channel and attacks people and calls them sovereign citizens, this, that, and the other. They're a bunch of lies. Now, as far as the case laws that she reads from, yes, there are cases, but there are also other cases that people have won that have exposed things like dealing with the bill of exchange that in a way are like discharges that have gone through, what some people call TDA accounts or private accounts or secret accounts. Whatever label you decide to put on it, that's up to you. But it's like I do know for a fact that the Treasury in Washington, D.C., I had a friend years ago that I assisted, and she showed me where they removed something from her credit report, a bill that she had from an instrument that she had done. So I know that the TDA, there is truth to it. There's validity. It's not about the reversals that people were getting. I know why that was being blocked, but it's about proving that these accounts were real. I already did several videos covering that. I may do a video maybe one or two more down the road to go over just an update for those newbies. But it's a certain reason the Federal Reserve was blocking reversing those transactions. But it was definitely a reason why they were going through. And I know this for a fact. When I attended that private event years ago, and I have documented evidence on this to support this. I have even the flyer from the event, and it was private. Let's be clear on that. But they were recruiting us from people that studied this information years ago under the guise of they were going to unify us, etc. But I'm not mentioning the name for this video for the time being. But some of y'all who know me personally know who I'm talking about, have even mentioned it. And I'm not going to say the name for the sake of this video. So this shows credibility. And like I said, once again, I work in the field of law enforcement. And there's things I know I haven't gone into, but I'm a fair person. I've know people from all different walks of life. You know, I'm a loner. I do, for the most part, I keep to myself. I'm a mild-mannered person, just to let you guys know. But I have this vlog I created to show validity behind the information that I go over. And I wanted to point out that a lot of these disinfo agents out here, they're giving misleading, false information. And this individual I mentioned numerous times is definitely a disinfo agent. You know, a lot of misleading information. Terry McLaughlin says, I was able to pay some bills in the amount of $4,600 and never was returned back. It is still good. Wow, that's amazing. I did hear some people had payments that stuck. There were a few, the majority of them did reverse. I do understand that, and there's a reason why. But I also, another thing to confirm these accounts were real is, I know not just myself, but other people went on Amazon and used routing numbers attached to our social security number, which was the account number. And if you go online and you look up the old social security numbers, and they said account number on them, because this gatekeeper tried to say, well, that wasn't used for identification purposes. No, I spoke to a banker not too long ago, and I'll give the name of that particular bank, Chase Bank. And she told me that if you didn't have several other forms of ID, they would use your social security number as a form of process of elimination to help identify you. What it meant years ago originally was it was not meant to be your sole, like, facial identification if you were trying to get into a club, like a bar or a club where you had to be over 18 or 21 years old. That's what it was referring to when they say not used for identification, but it was still used for identification purposes. Like when you fill out job applications, what do they ask for? You go to a doctor's appointment, dentist appointment. I've seen this firsthand. They ask for your social security number. Look up online, the old-fashioned, go on Yahoo or Google, look up old-fashioned social security numbers, and you'll see the format had account number on there. So this individual, she wants to program you a certain way. You know, that's why, you know, she does that. Chosen Few 2010 says, it's very real. I'm using it, and you have to have your paperwork in order. Keep all receipts. Wow, if you could share that information, that's awesome. Yeah, RBG says Title 31 USC 5118. Yep, that's another, actually a different statute that was codified from the one of the statutes at large. I couldn't think of offhand. I do have it. Actually, it was like it's chapter 48, 112. It may be 112 48 48 or statute 48 112 112. But that's where House Joint Resolution is also codified in the statutes at large. It's also, the remedy is also codified in the Code of Federal Regulations. I think section 103.11 subsection U. Don't quote me on it. Monetary, that deals with monetary instruments. I know it was subsection, the letter U is in universe. Subsection U that dealt with, it said all instruments or negotiable instruments when you look at the definitions, the terminology, but that's a whole different story. When you look at the codification of HJR 192 of 1933. Terry McLaughlin says, mine hasn't reversed 4,600 and is never returned. I have GMEI account. I filed paperwork and, well, it's going good. Yes, I hear if you've done the right things, actually, because members at the top, unfortunately, in the secret circles, don't explain how the proper paperwork to submit to allow those transactions to go through. I won't really go into that for this video. Chosen Few 2010 says look up IRS Form 56. Yes, that's another powerful form actually that deals with fiduciary, who you can appoint as fiduciary even yourself, because this individual was also trying to imply that you can't do this stuff yourself. When they're lying, she just spews multiple lies, and I can tell that she herself is not a lawyer. And I'm not claiming profession to be a member of the bar, but I did study this information meticulously and in depth. So this information is action-packed. What I'm going over, you can compare the notes. But to get back on track to the subject of the video was redemption education, where to begin, and I'm going over Disinfo agents. Also look up Yusaville. He has put out good work on his channel, very excellent work for beginners to start off with. He's done like screen captures to show definitions for people to research and see the credibility. This debunks a lot of the stuff that Virgo Triad puts out. You know, solid, genuine evidence. Also look up Eon. He puts out, I've had people tell me personally, Eon puts out good work. I've followed his work for some time. Kelby Smith, I forget the name of his channel. He was working with Fred and Nina Gutierrez years ago. Big shout out to Kelby Smith. He puts out excellent work in terms of contracts, because someone I noticed had commented on a Virgo Triad video, and what she did was she did another video to try to discredit them, make fun of them, not even have a proper debate with this person to attempt to disprove what they were saying was inaccurate. Instead, she went as far as to make fun of him and had other subscribers comment, and she claims her channel is against bullying. So it shows you she's the real bully. You know, just something to think about, you know, and you guys see as we're moving into these tactics from these people who've come in and infiltrated, you know, our government and things. I'm just saying, I don't know if for sure what type of government agent she is or what agency she works for, but sometimes, if not, people can be an agent of disinformation. They can be an agent of evil, an agent of hate. You know, and she never shows a real face. Keep that in mind. She doesn't even show a real name, and that's not credible. That shows she's not reputable. I'm showing who I am. You guys can see clearly. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for joining me in this video. If you do like the work that I do, you're welcome to share this video. Please thumbs up. Let's get the likes up. You know, once again, you can also follow me at Dorsey's Resource on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. And of course, I'm on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, by the way. I just have a few photos on there just to show, you know, my recreational activities, some things I was into in the past, who I met or whatever. I try to kind of leave a message behind the photos that I've uploaded from some years ago to show you I've evolved. I study a collection of information from different walks of life, different genres, but I try to be fair to everyone and to provide credible information. And you guys can clearly see, once again, you guys see who I am, not behind a fake or ghost account. But I want to thank you for joining me. I'm your host, John Dorsey. And until next time, but before I forget, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell at the bottom. YouTube will notify you in the upper right-hand corner whenever I put out new content. I'm also on minds.com and gab.ai, just using those as a backup. So until next time, I appreciate you all for joining me. Thank you very much. Take care.